This is the plaintiff, Varancy Beverly Poitier. She says the defendant allowed an unauthorized truck to park in his parking spot located next to her parking spot, where they live, and she tripped over a chain attached to the truck. She was badly injured in the fall and is now disfigured and is suing for $5,550 for pain and suffering, medical bills, and a detective fee she has to pay. This is the defendant, David Danish. He says the plaintiff went onto his property and it's her own fault she fell. She doesn't have to go on his property to get to her car. For some strange reason, she chose to trespass onto his property. And her falling is her own fault, and he's simply not responsible. She has tried to sue everyone for this and has failed, and now coming after him with this frivolous lawsuit. He's accused of being careless.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket. The plaintiff says the defendant let a truck park in front of a parking space and she tripped over it and now she's disfigured. But the defendant says the plaintiff is a trespasser. It's the case of what a trip.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Varancy Beverly Poitier,
Yes.
you are suing Dowd Danish,
Yes.
your neighbor, for $5,550 in pain and suffering, disfigurement, and future therapy costs because, according to you, he allowed a commercial vehicle to park on his property next door to you, which negligently left things out that caused you to trip.
Yes.
All right. How long, do you own the place you're at?
Yes.
Okay, and how long have you been there?
I've been there 49 years.
49 years you've been there?
Yes.
God bless you. All right, who's the gentleman who's with you?
This is my son.
Okay. All right, so you live in a unit, and there's a parking space in front of that unit, correct?
Actually, the parking space is in the back, but we're assigned, we have two that we're assigned to.
So Mr. Danish owns the property next to yours?
Eventually, I found that out. I didn't know who owned it.
Okay. Had he ever lived there?
I don't know.
But you don't remember. Did you ever live there?
No.
You've always rented it out?
Yes.
You have a tenant who stays there now, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what happened to you?
I tripped over, the chain was chained to the truck, to 3 mowers, and to a pole, which made it like airborne. I didn't see it. I tripped over it. I went airborne myself.
Oh, goodness. Do you have a picture of how the chain was?
I couldn't get it then because they took me away, but we got a picture of the way he started to chain it, which is laying on the ground. It was not laying on the ground when I tripped over it.
Okay, show me, if you can show me a pic, go ahead, son, go ahead. That's why she had you. Get up, help her, do what you need to do.
Because he took the pictures
That's
anyway.
fine. I have no problem with that. Whose truck was that? Was it a commercial vehicle?
Yes.
Whose truck was that?
Actually, it was the neighbor 29th. My unit is number 30, and this is 29. That she asked my tenant if they can park overnight because my tenant is working at nighttime, and they can use the parking. And she said yes.
Okay, back it up. So a neighbor asked your tenant, a neighbor of your tenants asked your tenant, can I park my car in your space at night?
Nighttime.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know.
You found this out after the fact?
After the fact, yes.
So were you renting out that space?
No.
So according to you, what's going on there?
I called the Paramount Homeowners Association because they are liable for whatever happens to our CC&Rs, and these are our CC&Rs, no commercial vehicles.
Your what?
CC&Rs that govern the condo.
Okay, so the rules and regulations that govern the condo.
Right.
And everyone knows that those, I've read those rules and regulations, and they say no commercial vehicles.
Right.
Other than during working hours, not overnight, not this, not that. You can't do that.
Right.
Right.
So I called the Paramount Association. They claim not to know about any of that, about the tenant, about him.
Yeah, but why, isn't it their job to know?
It is their job to know. And we found out that not only was it his parking space, but he's the president of the Paramount Association.
Right, but you are suing him individually as the owner of those buildings. So is this a picture of how it looks when it's chained to a pole?
I can't see that
I'm very unfair on my part. I am going to send that over to you and ask you. In fact, I'm going to bring it over to you because I have questions. And I need you to kind of hover right behind. So here's a picture, and there's a chain that goes from a chain, not in the chain link fashion, but in a plastic covered fashion, that goes from this car to this pole, correct?
Yes, Judge.
Now, did you put that chain or for demonstrative purposes, or is that how the person hooks it up?
Judge, the way it is the commercial vehicle, I guess he does lines, and to stop his equipment from being stolen, he runs the chain through all the equipment, and then he chains it to the pole.
Is the pole next to the space he's been parking in?
Yes.
Okay,
right
and
next to
why
the
are
pole.
you next to that, in between that pole and that truck in order to trip?
Judge Million, this is where we were able to get him afterwards. He changed it higher up prior to that. And I'm in number 1, and 28 is where he was parked.
Okay, let's try to use this picture to help us.
Okay.
So he's parked where? Here?
That's,
He's parked here?
yeah.
Okay, and then the chain would go from his place to here.
But the way he does the pole, because he's chaining 3 mowers. And
3 mowers?
Yeah.
Right, and then chaining it to
the truck, and then chaining it to the pole, so it's sort of airborne.
Okay, but to be clear, the parking spaces are not on people's property. It is not in some townhouses, condos where here's my property, I walk out into my front lawn and there is my space. That's not how it's working.
No.
You have to cross over, the river and through the woods, and then you get to your parking lot where spaces are assigned.
Yes.
So everybody has the same right to be standing in any one of those places. Just not parking in any one of those places, but you can walk through. You're not walking on someone's property,
Right.
which is what you had said in response to the lawsuit, that you didn't understand why she would be walking on your property, but it's kind of not set up that way. It's kind of a parking lot of cars. And yeah, that one's assigned to your people, but what right does he have to have a commercial vehicle on there and to have a chain that goes across?
So if you're used to not seeing like a chain there and then you trip, are you responsible for not looking where you're going, or is the landlord responsible?
I think he is responsible for that because he didn't give a further notice.
See what?
He didn't give like a...
He didn't say, hey, there's a chain.
Yeah, so...
Okay, what do you say?
I think it's a mixed bag. If the landlord allowed the car to be chained in, then the landlord is basically complicit and basically saying, hey, I'm allowing this, so he's taking on liability.
Wow, that's almost too profound for this case. Bad, going inside the courtroom.
You ended up falling and you hurt yourself. You ended up going to the hospital that day. Do you have the hospital records?
I have the emergency room records. At that point, we got into trouble because my HMO said it's third party. We're not paying for it. So I haven't been able to get any additional...
When did this occur?
April the 14th. And I haven't been able to get any additional care, and
Were
I'm
you on a walker before then?
No.
May I ask an indelicate question? How old are you?
72.
72. Let me hear from you. Your tenant is allowing overnight parking by a commercial vehicle, which is clearly, you agree, a violation of...
No, my tenant actually, my tenant told me that the lady asked her if she can park. Actually, the wife of the guy that he parked there. It's supposed to be her.
Okay, I'm
his
sorry. Are you
wife.
suggesting that no one knew that parked there every night, overnight, was a commercial vehicle that not only had a bunch of mowers on it, but that had cords going to secure the mowers and then wrap around a pole, presenting a clear and present danger to everybody who's around there? Somebody knew.
Yeah, but I didn't know about that, and I found out after the incident.
Well, I think you should know. I think you might have known. But either way, I think it's your business as the owner, and certainly as the president of the condo association, to know what's going on. Because people have a right to live in a place that does not present these kinds of dangers to them. You fell, and what happened to you as a result physically?
I had a concussion, a black eye. My teeth were loosened, and my hip is, I don't know what's going on with my hip. They seem to think that I need to have x-rays.
Because the medical records that I'm seeing show that you went into the hospital and that you were there for many hours, that they ended up giving you like these tetanus shots and stuff like that.
Yes.
Can I please see something from a doctor saying what your injuries are?
I don't know. I never got
Okay,
any
well, somebody
bills.
knows. Son, come on up. I need to see medical proof of your injuries. So if you have none, then that's what you have. I'm just saying.
We have none. We're in the process now. Medicare pulled me out of there, and they're in the process now
Because you
of
feel,
trying.
okay, So you don't have any medical proof future therapy costs. There's no doctor saying you need therapy. When you come to court and you say, I need $2,000 for a medically necessary result of your negligence, you have to prove it's medically necessary. Right. It can't just be something you want. Right. Because we have to guard against people coming to court trying to get money and then going to Vegas. I have to know that it's actually medically necessary, which we don't have in front of me. I am, however, going to order $1,500 in pain and suffering. That is my verdict.
Thank you, Judge.
Well, the defendant comes out of the courtroom. You just heard the plaintiff collect on pain and suffering to a large degree. And what's your feeling on the outcome now?
She's not there. I haven't seen her, when she was injured or something. I haven't seen her that time. But just the only thing I'm believing that she's just after everybody to sue everybody.
Well, maybe you should keep a little closer eye on your tenants to make sure what's going on out there. You're gonna.
Yeah, because when I turned president and the president of the association, I didn't know the rules and requirements.
All right. Head this way, okay? Head around the corner there. And let's see what the plaintiff has to say after collecting here. Step up and tell me how you're feeling about what the judge awarded you.
I just wanted them to be active because if I can't be safe, I can't stay in my house.
Right.
Well, and I love meeting Judge Million.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
How was this whole the accident? How did it change your life?
I can't walk, and I could walk prior to that.
This is all the result of that.
And then wearing ugly shoes because you can't wear heels no more.
Those don't look like ugly shoes.
Oh, they're flat.
Oh, you'd be wearing high heels if not?
Yeah.
Otherwise? All right. Well, good luck. Take care.
Thank you so much. Nice meeting you too.
Take your time around the corner with Officer McIntosh there.
You.
All right, Harvey.
Okay, Kurt, look, you have to prove any medical or psychological injury with the help of a doctor, and if you don't have that expert testimony, you're out of luck. That will do it for this case, litigants, for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.